My name is Matt. I'm a junior doctor from Hong Kong working in London, but today I'm not here to talk to you as a doctor giving you medical or revision tips, but rather something that is more personal to me. This is about an experience that defined who I am today and something that I know that a lot of other people are going through as well. So I hope to shed some light on my experiences and help others see light at the end of their tunnel. Hong Kong has always been home for me. I spent the first 18 years of my life there and had supportive parents, a good education, a great friendship circle. I loved my school, my city, the food, the culture, the people. Hong Kong was my home, and truthfully, I never saw life outside it. Maybe because I'd never spent proper time beyond it. I travelled but had never settled down in another place before. When I turned 18, I went through the motions of applying to universities without really understanding the implications of what it meant to study abroad. The thought of independence was exciting, but it came with a bunch of realities that I didn't fully grasp at the time. When it was time to move to England, I wasn't anywhere near ready to leave the comfort bubble that I'd built around my life at home. Among the 64.4 million people in the UK when I first moved to the country, I knew zero. I came here all by myself, terrifyingly alone. My entire existence shrunk down to 2 suitcases and a backpack. My first year of university represented a turbulent time for me because I'd been thrown in this new unfamiliar environment as a shy and quiet teenager who'd never had to leave my comfort zone. The definitions and conceptions I'd built up in the first 18 years of my life were suddenly foreign to the people around me. Culturally, it felt like I was from a completely different world, from our pastimes to the TV we watched growing up, to social events and even our relationship with alcohol. I found the social interactions difficult because our topics of conversation were so different. I learned for the first time what truly being alone meant. I was away from my family for the first time in my life, and this was honestly really difficult for me, especially because growing up I had been taught that family was always a priority and came first. I had huge FOMO during birthdays and big social events, especially seeing photos of everything going on at home and everything I was missing out on. Put together with the workload of medical school and adapting to a new way of studying and learning, I just had a really hard time adjusting to my new life. At times, I resented myself for choosing to put myself in such an uncomfortable environment. Sometimes, I resented those around me for being so different to me and yearned for a sense of belonging. I guess in the beginning I put on a brave face because I didn't want my family to worry. I managed in my own way without really opening up, and what seemed to help was finding people from similar cultures or backgrounds, and that provided me with some home comforts. But I think that the shift in my mentality only really began to change once I was able to put aside my fear and resentment towards being here and see coming here for my studies as a blessing and an opportunity to learn about the world and meet tons of different people and expose myself to lots of different things. I was here on my journey to become a doctor, but there could be so much more than that. By challenging my mindset and comfort, I grew a desire to want to learn more about the world around me and develop myself as a person. And so, instead of just focusing on the negatives, I decided to look at what I could do and start engaging with the community around me. I learned to be more comfortable with myself, and that meant finding things that made me happy, worked for me, giving myself the time and space that I needed, and taking care of myself both physically and mentally. I took small steps in my quest for independence. I learned how to budget, I learned how to manage my time effectively, and holding myself accountable to various tasks and jobs. I also learned to cook, which was amazing, one of my favorite things of university. And my flatmates have some horrifying stories of me just when I was in first year of uni learning to cook. I mean, it was hilarious. They remind me every single time I see them. I mean, I came from Hong Kong and I didn't know how to cook rice. I had to learn, a Chinese guy had to learn how to cook rice from a British guy. My heritage would have been so disappointed. I slowly found that I actually loved spending time with other people. I loved hearing about their backgrounds, their stories. I felt that every single person that I met added value into my life, whether it just be from their perspective or just from the way they thought or challenged me to think. I even picked up various habits here, such as saying certain phrases. Apparently my accent has changed a little bit, and even just drinking numerous cups of tea a day. I mean, that's something I don't think I could go without now. It was difficult adjusting to my life here, but eventually embracing the community and the world around me, I found that I felt more comfortable and I learned to appreciate my life here. I've now been here for over 6 years now, working in the heart of London, and I love the place I work, the world I live in, and the people around me, honestly. I don't think I've necessarily found success per se from my journey, because I think that success has many different definitions. But among my difficult times and challenges, I found happiness, fulfillment, and a home away from home, and I think that's everything that I could ask for. Honestly, you don't realize how dynamic the world is or how much you change until you look back. Thinking back, I wasn't ready at 18 years old to decide where I wanted to be for the next 5 years of my life, let alone what I wanted to study or what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Not to mention being away from family, friends, and home, but that's just the way it happened, and it made me stronger. Because of it, I grew as a person and learned to overcome difficulties and adversaries. I also know that I spend a lot of my time by myself, but in reality, I know that I am never alone. I carry my family's hearts and feelings in the same way that they carry mine, even though they're halfway around the world. I care for my friends deeply in the same way that I know they will always have my backs as well. It's really easy to feel isolated nowadays, especially when you come to a brand new place, but you know that there is someone out there, whether it be family, a close friend, a relative, or someone that you've just met that cares about you, and they are just a phone call or a thought away. All in all, I'm grateful that I challenged myself to leave home because I feel like I've learned so much. Will I go home eventually? Maybe. I know my parents are at home, and ultimately home is where the heart is. I might find myself just moving somewhere different entirely as well, just for a different change. All I know is that these last 6 years have been a very defining time for me, and I'm excited to see what the future holds. And truthfully, the most worthwhile things in life are always the hardest. So here's my challenge to you guys. Actively seek new environments, new challenges, and opportunities to push yourself and go find out more about the world and yourself. Thanks guys for watching. Honestly, this was just a bit more of a personal one, just I wanted to share my experiences of coming to the UK and what that was like. It was quite a difficult time for me, especially in my first year of uni, and having never left home before to live anywhere else, I know it was certainly very isolating, and probably a lot of you guys are in a similar position where you moved out for studying or just moved out to a new job somewhere. I guess I just wanted to make this to show you guys that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and sometimes even though it can seem like a really awful situation being away from family and friends, it's about what you make from the situation and learning to overcome those difficulties and challenges. So all I will say is things will work out, and you can just take small steps every day to make yourself feel a bit more comfortable and engage with the community around you, and eventually you'll feel better. As always, feel free to reach out to me to have a chat if you'd like, and if you enjoyed this video, please feel free to press the like button or subscribe to follow my journey. But for now, that is it, and I will see you guys in the next one.